Good morning to whoever's online so far. Give it another few seconds, then we'll start. Okay, we're up to Perek Vav Mishna Vav. And the setup of this Mishnah is similar to the previous Mishnah. Ein Mevi'in Truma Mechutz La'aretz. You do not bring Truma from outside of Eretz Yisrael, La'aretz, into Eretz Yisrael. The first thing we need to explain is, where is Truma outside of Eretz Yisrael? Truma is what's called a mitzvah Tluya La'aretz, a mitzvah that depends on the land. And therefore the Torah only obligates Truma to be taken in Eretz Yisrael. So where does Truma outside of Eretz Yisrael come from? So the Yad Avram explains, under biblical law, the obligation to separate Truma and tithes from agricultural produce applies only in Eretz Yisrael. Under enactments dating back to the era of the prophets, the lands of Babylon, Egypt, Ammon, and Moab, although not part of the land of Israel, were also obligated. So you already had a law instituted by the Nevi'im, by the prophets, to take Meiser off, take Trumas and Meisers off from certain lands outside of Eretz Yisrael. Syria, as we recall from Mishna 2, was territorially part of the land, but because it was conquered by David HaMelech before he ruled all of Eretz Yisrael proper, it was not biblically sanctified. Under rabbinical, however, it was partially equated with the sanctified areas of Eretz Yisrael. Thus, as with the law of Shemitah, the laws of Truma were also binding there, but only rabbinically. So this is the possibility of having Truma from outside of Eretz Yisrael. There were certain lands that was instituted that they be treated like Eretz Yisrael for certain things, and one of those things were for Truma. But again, it's not Truma d'oraisa, it's not Truma from a Torah obligation with a Torah status, but the Drabanan, rabbinically. Now, so the Mishnah is teaching us that Truma from any of those foreign lands cannot be run into Eretz Yisrael. That would mean that the Kohen, who typically goes over to farmers to get their Truma, he would be going outside of Eretz Yisrael to these lands and then bringing it back in. So the Mishnah says that HaChamim instituted that you can't do that. If a Kohen goes outside Eretz Yisrael to get Truma, you can't bring it in. Why did we discourage him from doing that? And the answer is because, number one, if he leaves Eretz Yisrael, there's a problem leaving Eretz Yisrael. Number two, as we mentioned before, the land outside of Eretz Yisrael, midrabanan, rabbinically, is considered tameh. Now, it's considered tameh as if this tumah came from a corpse. If you remember, we said yesterday that the original law making the ground of lands outside of Eretz Yisrael was because of the fact that the Gentiles there were just burying people anywhere. And therefore, we were afraid of bone fragments in the ground that could come to Eretz Yisrael and make problems, and cause tumah. And therefore, they said the ground is tameh, and they even extended it later to the airspace. But the whole point is that tumah, that impurity of being outside of Eretz Yisrael, that comes from being outside of Eretz Yisrael, was rabbinically instituted and considered a tumah from a dead body midrabanan. Rabbinically, it's considered tumah from a dead body. We know that a Kohen is prohibited from making himself tameh through a dead body. Now, go to a funeral. Now, it'll be under the same roof as a funeral, as a dead body. And therefore, he's not to go outside of Eretz Yisrael either, because he is making himself tameh from corpse tumah, corpse ritual impurity, midrabanan. So therefore, if we would allow the Kohen to bring the truma back into Eretz Yisrael, or allow anybody to bring that truma into Eretz Yisrael, we'd have a problem of a Kohen going outside of Eretz Yisrael to get it so that he can bring it back. And he's not allowed to do that, because number one, he shouldn't be leaving Eretz Yisrael. Number two, he's making himself tameh rabbinically, but again, considered rabbinically a tumah from a dead body, and a Kohen is not allowed to make himself impure from that kind of impurity. Okay, so therefore, these are the reasons given as to why we do not bring truma in from outside of Eretz Yisrael into Eretz Yisrael. Amar Reb Shimon said, Shamati beferish, I heard explicitly, Shemavian mi Syria, you could bring the truma from Syria. but not from other lands. So according to Rabbi Shimon, the explanation is as follows. The ground of Syria was declared by the rabbis to be tamei, just like the lands of the nations. However, unlike the other lands, the airspace of Syria was not made tamei. Consequently, if someone entered Syria on horseback or in a wagon, and thus avoided direct contact with the ground, he could avoid contracting tumah. Meaning, Syria, again, is in some ways treated like Eretz Yisrael, some ways not. So regarding this idea of tumah that comes from being outside of Eretz Yisrael, it only applies to Syria if you come into contact with the ground. So only the ground is tamei, like the original law. But the airspace is not tamei like all other lands. Therefore, because of this possibility, meaning it's possible for the Kohen to enter Syria without becoming tamei, Rabbi Shimon maintained that the rabbis did not introduce legislation intended to prevent Kohanim from entering Syria. Accordingly, Truma from Syria was allowed into Eretz Yisrael. Okay, so the point is that being that there is this possibility for the Kohen to enter in a way that he would not become tamei, therefore the Chachamim, according to Rabbi Shimon, did not institute this law of not bringing in Truma from Syria. Other lands, yes, but not from Syria. Syria, it's possible to go into Syria without becoming tamei, and therefore the Chachamim didn't legislate, didn't institute that Truma from Syria is a problem. Furthermore, since Syria was at least rabbinically endowed with sanctity, the general prohibition on leaving the land of Israel was not as severe. So again, you have Syria, it clearly has more sanctity, it has a certain level of sanctity like Eretz Yisrael. Other lands don't. Therefore, the other reason given as to why we don't want the Kohen leaving Eretz Yisrael because you should leave Eretz Yisrael is not as severe prohibition as if you're going to Syria or if you're going to other places. So again, this law was never legislated from Syria to say that Truma cannot come from Syria. But Rabbi Shimon agrees when it comes to other lands, even other lands that the sages instituted, or the Nevi'im, the prophets instituted to separate Truma in those areas. He agrees that those would not be brought in because there you have the problem of the airspace being tamei, and you have the problem of leaving Eretz Yisrael. Okay, now the Sefer HaMitzvot. Mitzvah asay lahayiv kolechem Yisrael b'kegufay. Positive commandment that every person love a fellow Jew as himself. Shenema, as it says, v'hap l'reacha kamecha, you shall love your friend as yourself. Lachain, therefore, what does that mean to love your friend as yourself? Sarach lachus al kuf chaveroi m'moinach v'ayday. One has to be concerned with your friend's physical body, his physical well-being, and his mamonai, and his money, and his monetary being, on his monetary state. L'chvayd in his honor, kamayalatzai, just like on your own. You're concerned about your physical being. You're concerned about your money. You're concerned about your dignity. All these things you have to be concerned about for someone else as you would for yourself. One who gains honor through the disgrace of one's friend doesn't have a portion of the Mabah. A person who constantly does things to gain honor at the cost of someone else's dignity, that person loses his portion in the world to come. Included in this positive commandment is to create peace amongst the people. If you're supposed to love someone as yourself, included in that is bringing peace between two people who should be loving each other as themselves. This applies at all places and at all times, both by men and by women. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful Shabbos.